and truth go boom. Good morning, if your man acting up or your woman losing she mind. Right, we don't hide till we inside, 'cause ladies' room, go set it right. In the ladies' room, we talk it straight. Love, drama, heartbreak and fate. No pretense here, we tell it true.
'Cause the ladies' room is made for you.
Hosted by Aruna, sweet voice, and all the real talk you can handle. Welcome to the ladies' room, where real men talk and truth go boom. Good morning, if your man acting up or your woman losing she mind. Right, we don't hide till we inside, 'cause ladies' room, go set it right. In the ladies' room, we talk it straight. Love, drama, heartbreak and fate. No pretense here, we tell it true.
'Cause the ladies' room is made for you.
Hosted by Aruna, sweet voice, and all the real talk you can handle. Welcome to the ladies' room, where real men talk and truth go boom. Good morning, if your man acting up or your woman losing she mind. Right, we don't hide till we inside, 'cause ladies' room, go set it right. In the ladies' room, we talk it straight. Love, drama, heartbreak and fate. No pretense here, we tell it true.
'Cause the ladies' room is made for you.
Hosted by Aruna, sweet voice, and all the real talk you can handle.
Good morning again, everybody. Welcome back to the room, the ladies' room for today, Wednesday, January 7th. Yep, already 7 days gone in the new year. This is our first Wednesday, so we definitely gonna make it count. Hope everybody's doing fine. What's here in my face? Hold on. Better. Hope everybody's doing fine. Welcome, roomies. Thank you so much for powering up once again. And this morning we have another awesome topic ahead of us. All right, Melvin Brown, how am I supposed to check my phone when I'm talking? Listen, don't stress me. Hold on when I'm done. Yeah, so welcome aboard St. Augustine Medical Service. Thank you so much for being here. Land Store, Western Union, and Beacon Insurance. Thank you so very much for being here once again, and we are so happy to have you back for another day. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night to you, depending on what part of the world you are at this point in time. And if you're listening via the Power app, welcome. For those of you who are tuned in on Facebook or YouTube, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Or you're listening via radio 95.1, 95.3. Welcome to the ladies' room. Good morning, Carol. Hey, Shante. Blessed Wednesday, everyone. Good morning, Lisa. How's the weather up the road? Has it warmed up yet? Or you're still cold? The white stuff still on the ground? Anyways, hope you guys are doing well. Independence is around the corner as well. Yeah, no. It's still the first week, so it's like a month away. But you know, the preparations, it usually starts before with the beautification and all of that. So I'm sure as the days go by, we will keep you in the know. You know, that's what we're here for, to keep you informed as well as entertained. All right, that's what we are all about on Power 95. So come on in the room, everybody. Do me a favor and please share. And of course, please, you can join me. You can add your voices to the conversation. Yeah, it is not a classroom where I sit before you and I teach. Yeah, I want you to be part of it. I want it to be interactive. I want to hear your voices. Let it matter. Let it matter. Let it matter. Let it matter. All right. So feel free to hit me up on the WhatsApp. You can call me, or you can call the line directly, or you can leave a voice note, whatever is comfortable for you or convenient for you. I will appreciate. All right. Once again, good morning. Good morning, Maureen. Hey, Yvette James. Good morning. Have a great Wednesday. Jackie Douglas Adams. Looked like things worked out last night. Morning seems to be very long. A long morning with how many G's? Must be nice. Unison Joseph. Shauna Dakota. Who else is here? Melvin Brown. I'll get to you in a minute. Empress J. Grant. Ardon Kujo. Dimly Dowden. Shireen James. Who else is present in the room? Rita Williams. Selector Vibes. Shauna Henry. Clarina Nubian Modest. Good morning. Lindy Phillip. Vanessa St. John. Jackie Chiton. Who else? Nakisha Allen. Good morning. Happy New Year. Give advance notice. Valerie Ross. Jenny Charles Gilbert. Kata Candice Lawrence. Nishi. Who else? Rachel Boateng. Ingrid Bourne, Marvelyn Thomas is also here. Linda Pearl, Michelle Douglas, Diane Jerome, Alana Boson, Roxanne Scott, Jenny Coutain, Rajesh McIntosh. I'm good. Thank you so much, Diana, Stella Joseph, Precious Jewel, Maria Calise, Tamara Let Bartholomew, Andrew Thomas. Need to visit Grenada for real. Where are you from, Andrew? Yes, you are definitely welcome. Don't pay attention to what they're saying out there. Alexander Kelea, good morning. Hey, Darren Oxford, Della Fletcher, Natty Williams, how are you? Kizzy Thomas, good morning. Joan Joseph, Cameron Peters, Avian Bob, Alo Bailey, Auntie Sharon, good morning. It's nice seeing you the other night, Cheryl Ann Thomas. Naya, good morning. Where is Gabby? Madam Realtor, real estate developer. Welcome, everybody. It is indeed a pleasure to be back with you. And everybody else that's coming in the room, come quick and fast, because we got things to talk about. Derek said, Louis, good morning. So, we have a lot to unpack this morning. Yeah, let me just make sure I have all my ducks in a row. I have all the information that I need up here. Yeah, so there's just so much happening. I swear, every time you sleep and wake up, it's something, you know. And we hoped 2026 would be a calm, cool, collective year, and we just do, but no, it's like you were kicked from behind with no warning, you know, absolutely no warning whatsoever. But to move we must. Can't wallow in self-pity and all of that. We gotta do what we gotta do, right? Hey, Nell. Madam Nell, that's how you come back. Don't make me and you start here. All right. Hey, Rhonda Thomas, Nadasha Freeman, welcome. Thank you so much. New Year greetings to you as well. So, good morning again, everybody. Today I want to talk about something that's been generating a lot of discussion in our country, in our community, the diaspora, and that is the recent travel advisory update for Grenada. On January 5th, the U.S. Department of State updated its travel advice for our nation, and the advisory level was raised to level 2, exercise increased caution. For the first time, the crime risk indicator was explicitly added. At the same time, references to specific areas of increased risk were removed, and the overall advisory wording was updated. Now, there are strong opinions on this update, and hey, Cam, morning. Cricket, good morning. Cricket, Floyd Simon. I like that, Cricket. Rachel Campbell, good morning. Yeah. Now, there are strong opinions on the update, and social media has literally been abuzz with it yesterday. And, many in Grenada feel we shouldn't talk about crime in the media because I saw a couple postings, people saying, those are the reasons. I just want to be clear. There are lots who think that we shouldn't talk about crime in the media, that we shouldn't highlight negative things because it could harm tourism or our reputation or our national pride. So I wanna unpack all of that, not to sensationalize it, but to contextualize, to clarify, and to elevate the conversation. All right, Gabby, you're here. I feel better now. I was wondering where you were. Good. So let's start with the facts, right? According to the official advisory, the overall rating changed from level 1, exercise normal precautions, to level 2, exercise increased caution. And that means authorities now want travelers to be more aware of safety issues than they did before. The advisory now includes a crime risk indicator, which was not explicitly present before. The indicator signals that crime, including violent crimes such as robbery, assault, burglary, and even rape, is a risk that travelers should be aware of. The advisory makes clear that violent crimes can occur anywhere in Grenada and notes that in some cases, foreign nationals have been victims, including fatalities. Police response times may not match what some visitors expect elsewhere. The advisory then provides practical cautions. Don't resist robbery attempts. Be careful walking or driving at night. Keep a low profile. Stay away of your surroundings. And avoid answering doors in hotels unless you're sure who it is. It also encourages enrollment in traveler safety programs and recommends travel insurance. What's important here is not just the wording, but the context of putting official words on the record. It shows how a major government, albeit a foreign one, is assessing risk. So let's unpack this for a minute, why this matters. Of course, some people hear level 2 and think, that sounds serious. Is Grenada unsafe? Others think level 2 is no big deal. Most of Europe is level 2. Both reactions have a grain of truth. But travel advisory scales are relative, not absolute. At level 2, a level 2 isn't a warning against travel. It's a call to be vigilant. As travel experts explain, many popular destinations around the world carry a level 2 rating, including desirable cities in Western Europe. But, no one's get lost. What the advisory doesn't do, and this is key, is label Grenada as uniquely dangerous or suggest that people should cancel plans, avoid travel entirely, or that the country is unsafe in all areas at all times. What it does say, and that is why sometimes we're quick to react and we're not quick to understand and take time to understand stuff, to read with understanding in mind. We're quick to run around, the sky is falling, Chicken Little. The sky is falling and everybody starts to run, looking up, not seeing no sky falling, but Chicken Little is running, so everybody runs. What the advisory doesn't do, and this is key, is to label Grenada as uniquely dangerous or suggest that people should cancel plans, avoid travel entirely, or that the country is unsafe in all areas at all times. What it does say is be aware that crime happens. Be smart about how you travel and take precautions. One reason this matters is that tourism, of course, is the cornerstone of our economy. But ignoring risk doesn't make them disappear. It just leaves residents and visitors less prepared. A careful conversation doesn't harm tourism. It strengthens trust that we're honest about realities while still promoting all the beauty, all the opportunities that Grenada offers. So, should the media, so this brings into focus, should the media discuss crime? Because I saw a lot of people saying it is because we take to social media to put everything out there, or we talk about everything. And I'm like, let's tackle the heart of the controversy. The idea that we should not speak about crime or highlight negative things in the media. First, let's acknowledge something. That we don't live in an era where somebody had to write a letter and sometimes 2 weeks after you send and tell your aunt, hey, cousin Vibot dead. And already probably by the time they get a letter, cousin Vibot done dead, bury, we do 9 night, 10 night, everything. By the time Auntie Cecilia get the message up the road. Everything now is instantaneous. Before you blink, news travels quicker than the flash of lightning. With technology, with the internet, at the speed of light. So we don't necessarily even have to speak about it. You think people just get up, buy a ticket and just go to a place and don't do research? They don't go to the police website. They don't do the homework to find out, okay, what country is safer than the other. People just buy ticket and just move? No. There are people who do their research. So even though you may not speak about it publicly, doesn't mean they're not aware. And the fact remains, we are aware of what happens in the country. Their news blow up every minute of the day. NBC, CBC, NBC, ABC, Fox, you name it. But we still visit those countries, right? And we are aware of all the crimes that take place. We are aware of all the crimes that take place. And it's on a far wider scale than our little rock. But we still pick up and we go. Sometimes we venture into areas we know nothing about. People we know nothing about. At least when you come into Little Rock, everybody practically know of who, where, when. Go up the road, you'll pass the big stone, and then go around, you'll see a blue shop and ask for Mr. Wilbert, and then, go around the corner, you'll see a standpipe. You can't go around no corner and see no standpipe in the Big Apple, and no blue building, and then take a walk up the left, you go see a red. No. You have to navigate your way. So I'm saying all of this to say, it is better people know than they don't know, than they caught off guard. Like my friend Kemal is saying, integrity is better than deception. Open book, so you know what you're walking into. And I just want to acknowledge something, that there's a long tradition in many societies of shielding national narratives from criticism or negative portrayals. I mean, the motivation, it's understandable. Fear of economic harm, national embarrassment, or reinforcing stereotypes. Yeah. But journalism and public discourse have another responsibility: to inform, not to hide. Crime is a real phenomenon. According to other travel advisory, like those from, I was reading up on the UK government, most crime in Grenada is opportunistic. And while violent crime does occur, it often centers on theft or robbery narratives familiar to many destinations worldwide. But by pretending crime doesn't exist, we risk creating a false sense of security. By pretending crime doesn't exist, we risk creating a false sense of security. And that can be more harmful than openly discussing safety with clarity and care. Responsible reporting means giving context. This is how frequent it is. This is where it happens most often. These are sensible precautions to take, not sensationalizing or blanket statements. Last year we had 10 homicides. That is like a joke to some places. We're into day 7, and already there's how many in Trinidad? And we only had 10 last year. And it's worth noting that even with a level 2 advisory, many reputable travel analysis still list Grenada among the safer islands in the region. Data-driven safety indices rank Grenada high in security when compared to our neighbors. And we not to go far to look for our neighbors. So, north, south, east, west, right around us. So the media's job isn't to scare, but to educate. We can't say refrain from putting out, oh, there was a murder, or this happened, or that happened, out of fear that people ain't stupid. We have to say they could go do the research. The police have to put out their information. So what should we do? How should St. Lucia had 83 and one for the year so far? All right. We had 10. So my thing is, at the end of the day, burying our head under the sand or pretending it's not happening does nobody any good. So what should we do? How should the media talk about crime, travel advisories, and safety? We can start by contextualizing it. Don't just throw around numbers or ratings in isolation. Explain what a level 2 advisory actually means, like I did previously. It's an advisory to exercise increased caution, not a travel ban. Level 2 advisory means that it's an advisory to exercise increased caution, not a safety ban. Because based on some of the things I saw a couple people writing, you would swear they tell people don't come here. And they ban us. It's a ban, a complete ban. Telling people that's not what it says. That's not what it says. And that's not what it means either. There's a lot of other around it and the reasons why, and Trump and radar and yada 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 and deportees. That's another conversation. But for now, we're dealing with what we have, which is an advisory. So 1, contextualize. 2, we can humanize it. Talk to our locals, law enforcement, tourism stakeholders, and travelers themselves to tell a rounded story rather than an exaggerated one. Because I've seen a couple people of that color under a couple posts saying they've been to Grenada and they've never felt safer. I saw somebody said they left just last week and they've been traveling practically all of their adult life, and this is one of the safest destinations. This is somebody coming from the US. I saw another person from the UK echoing the same sentiments. They've been here several times, and at no point in time they ever felt they felt any their safety threatened in any way, shape, or form. So it's important that we educate. Yeah? What are common pitfalls? What practical steps can visitors take to stay safe? How do local police and community initiatives improve safety? Balance it, not just throw things out there for two comments and 2 likes. And this approach does 2 things at once. It respects truth and it protects reputation, that we are honest about where we are in terms of crime. We are not immune to crime. Yes, we say G for God and G for Grenada. Yes, we're special, but we ain't that special where we're immune from crime. It just so happens we have a very low crime rate, and the police does a very good job in solving crime. Their rate is very good. So, travel advisories are tools. They're not judgments. They're not punishments. They're guidelines based on data, policy, and risk assessment. Governments use them to help their citizens make informed decisions, and how we respond to these tools says a lot about our maturity as a society. So instead of the usual reflexive defensiveness, sometimes I just feel we just get defensive for defensive sake, and we're not even sure what we're getting defensive about. So instead of the reflexive defensiveness, we can choose responsible engagement. We can speak openly about safety while celebrating everything that makes Grenada a vibrant, welcoming, safe place. But we can't bury our head in the sand. Hate it or like it, we have had incidents that involved visitors. We saw what happened to the folks on the yacht. We can't pretend that it didn't happen. You would think something like that would not make international news. We're supposed to hide it to protect our tourism. It don't work that way. Tara says Jamaica crime rate in the Caribbean is very high, but it is still one of the most popular destinations in the Caribbean. Case in point, Jamaica is a classic example. Jamaica is filled year round. Look, they just had a hurricane, and people still full speed going there. Can't wait to go there. And their murder rate is, you can't even count. But tourists are still lining up to go there. So we have to be practical. It's an advisory, yeah. And like I said, people don't just get up and just go place. You at least do a little research as to where you're going, what's happening there, unless you ain't give two hoots about your life. I've never been somewhere new and not do a little research to find out, okay, what the area is about, I've never. There are some people who are carefree. They go with the wind, they sail down merrily down the stream, just book a ticket and they're gone. They do that. But for the most part, especially families who travel with children, they do their research. So they're fully aware of what's happening and what's happening. And there's no news which says we have 100+ murders. People are getting killed every minute of the day, second. People are being, pew in the streets. Or people are being robbed and raped, etc. At a high rate. There's absolutely no evidence to support that. But we still have crime. Some of what they mentioned, it do exist. So we can't pretend, like I said, it is not happening and say don't speak on it or don't share it on social media so people wouldn't find out. That is being disingenuous. You can't do that. We have to. People should know what they're walking into, where they're going. Because like I said, for those of you just joining the room, we're speaking on the U.S. Department of State updating the travel advice for Grenada, and it was raised to level 2. Like I said, level 2 means exercise increased caution. And for the first time, the crime risk indicator was explicitly added. At the same time, references to specific areas of increased risk were removed and the overall advisory wording was updated. Yeah? Exercise we had before, we were at level 1, exercise normal precautions. We're now at level 2, exercise increased caution. That means authorities now want travelers to be more aware of safety issues than they did before. And especially what happening across the road the other day with how he name, Maduro and blah, blah, blah. With all this increased situation happening just up the road from us. You don't think they would know to put us on alert? What are y'all saying? At the end of the day, we cannot pretend that we don't have crime. That is my point. Robbery, assault, burglary, and even rape is a risk that travelers should be aware of. And the advisory makes clear that violent crime can occur anywhere in Grenada and notes that in some cases, foreign nationals have been victims, including fatalities. There's a lie or the truth. Even without the news, I think these folks wouldn't know. Even if we haven't put it out in the news, how could we have something that involves foreign nationals losing their lives through crime and don't say anything and don't post it on social media and don't speak on it? Like how? Why would we want to do that? Are they giving people this false sense of, this blanket sense of security? So they just walk in there because there's no reports of crime. That means nothing happening. So you can just go anywhere, anytime, leave your door open, sprawl off in your living room with your door wide open at nights and not worry about a thing. You can't do that to people. We can't do that to people. That is not rational. That is not being responsible. That is highly irresponsible for the media and whoever else who choose to post things. If it is stuff that that are made up, or people are telling lies on specific crimes, then yeah, that has been highly irresponsible. You can't do that. But once something has happened and it's out in the public sphere, you can't say don't speak on it. You can't sugarcoat these things. You can't, because like I said, at the tip of your finger, you just pick up your phone, you type in Grenada, okay, what's the stats on Grenada, whether you go chat GPT, you go Google, what's the stats on crime in Grenada, you get a whole, you get when, who, what, everything is right at your fingertips. So then we had to put it out there. Plus, look what happened last year with the rape. So at some point, we have to become more responsible and maybe start doing more work. But the rate things are going, crime isn't something we'll be totally free from. We would love that to happen, but the reality of the situation is there's no way that is crime free. There's no country on the earth that does not have incidences of crime, whatever it is. None. Even the Garden of Eden, when they tell, why she named Eve do eat the apple and she still disobey. And Cain kill, what name, Abel? So from since that, crime exists. So we can't run away from it and pretend that it's not happening to protect our tourism brand. Our tourism brand is doing beautiful. But people need to know, hey, once you're venturing out of your home to another place, there's always a risk. Even while you're in your own home, in your own country, there are risks. So what makes you think you're going to another place wouldn't be any? So it basically means to be more careful. Yeah? What's that? Let's say I want to highlight something. What's that about? Come, who is this? JD, what are you up to? How can I help you? What madness is that? Plus, I want to highlight something. This person sent me a friend request, and when I accept them, they go straight to the message and I asked how can I help them, and that was the response, and that was my response. And after that, they made that threat. So I'm sending this to you so you can highlight. I live in Trinidad. Mr. Man. It's me, yes, Papa. So the person says, hey, the person says, sup, who is this? The person says, oh, so and so is the name. What you up to? How can I help you? The person says, bring your private part. So the person responds, go do this, and cuss them out. And the person says, anytime you come Grenada, you're dead. Huh? What are you drinking? What man this is? Let me go on this page and see something quick. How is me, lad? I'm just talking about crime and look people threatening people to unalive them. I can't find the page. Like the person, let me see the name. Hold on. You can tell you more mad people outside than inside, you know. Good morning. Now someone says, many are not aware that there has been an increase in crimes committed against SGU students. Grenada is still relatively safe, but the U.S. may have some grounds for the release. Listen, as much as we dislike the U.S. for certain things they do, they ain't crazy, eh? They might act crazy sometimes, and they do crazy-ish sometimes, but they wouldn't just jump up and issue this without having any reason to. Contrary to the conspiracy theories that are there and the conspiracy theories that you see floating, it's because of this and radar and who and who and who. There's a lot of things that don't make the news because it's in this area, it's sort of controlled. There are a lot of things I hear about robberies and stuff involving, SGU students that may not make the mainstream media and may make a big deal about it per se. But they have been targeted. They have been the targets of robbery, etc. And we heard of a rape incident. So we can't pretend that these things are not happening. Why we always want to pretend things aren't happening? So how do we take responsibility and accountability and fix things if we always want to pretend that it's not happening? Morning, Nicole says, I believe all travelers know that they should be away no matter where you go. Of course. So we just sit back and act as though, things aren't happening. Someone says the whole universe is drinking stupid juice. I don't want no part of that juice. Thank God I wasn't drinking from people, so nobody ain't giving me that to drink. Says that's what America do. They tried that with America before, so people got scared, but they're not scared with the 90% crime. I don't think so. I don't subscribe to that. I don't think it's about scaring people from, but it is the reality. There's crime in Jamaica. There's crime in Trinidad. There's crime in St. Vincent. There's crime in St. Lucia. There's crime in Barbados. There's crime in Grenada. There's crime in Carriacou. There's crime in St. Lucia. There's crime in Antigua. There's crime in Bermuda. There's crime everywhere. There's crime everywhere. And it is a country's duty to protect their citizens. Because the same way we are aware of crime in the US, we're still busy to go and get their visa to go up the road. And to go into areas we know nothing about. We travel on their train, we travel on the streets, we literally out there. And it's not like cases where most of the times in the Caribbean, crime is centered around, okay, you and a person have an issue, so you do this person this, or whether it's gang or drug related, but you know why and who you're doing it to. You don't just go around ad hocly just pew-pewing people or just unaliving people. You know who you're doing it to and why you're doing it. Them places up the road, you sit down in the state, in the subway minding your business, and somebody with mental issues just walk and just push you off the track for no reason whatsoever. Just walk and push you onto the tracks. I was looking at a TikTok video where this lady was so engrossed in her phone. She was so engrossed in her phone. There was this mentally ill man walking down this thing and just slapping people. And her head was down in her phone. She had her earplugs in. So people saw him and they were moving out of his way, ducking, bobbing. That man came with so much force and knocked this lady. I swore her jaw was broken. The force he swung at her with, and she fell on her back. And he continued just going down the subway, looking for other people to do it too. I'm telling you, it's crazy. It's, Terry says we live in different times. People have become so heartless. Crime all over the world. We need to be aware and try to be safe wherever we go. Maria St. Bernard, good morning. The media is to be blamed. We depend on y'all to bring it to us. We can't just go around looking for news. Blame for what, mule driver? What do you mean the media is to be blamed? We depend on y'all to bring it to us. We can't just go around looking for news. But there are things that I don't know that I go look for myself. You can't depend. You see, there's a problem I have. The responsibility. We always pointing finger at self. So if you live in a place and you're not hearing, you wouldn't take. I take it upon myself to look for stuff, to research stuff. People have smartphones. All you do is to type and look and do your own research. So why everything has to be dependent on, and there's a blame game? Why we need to blame? The same way you just get up and look. Like I said, there are some areas that are more controlled. You can't just go into SGU and just go around asking questions like that. It is a controlled environment. But we always on this blame game thing about who is to blame and who not to blame and who, and nobody takes accountability and responsibility for their roles and their part. Let's start with people knowing that their boy children have certain tendencies that they need to report to the police and they don't. How about we start with knowing that your families are involved in drugs, that they have guns and ammunition, that they're doing crimes that you're aware of, and you say absolutely nothing, you mute. And then it escalates and then everybody running and again, like I said, and pretending they didn't know. We all have a right and we all have that responsibility to protect this rock. It's not just a government responsibility or police responsibility. There are a lot of you who are aware of certain things happening in your communities and you say nothing. In your homes, you say nothing. So it's not just a police responsibility or a government responsibility or because you undo this or this person has to do this. What about our own personal responsibility if we want this place to be the beacon it can be? We're always quick to point fingers at what everybody else should do, but we're blind we're mute, we're dumb when it comes to our own personal responsibility. Who uses Stephanie? Oh my God. You. Oh, that's so gross, man. But at the end of the day, that's about it. Just wanted to say, we cannot censor everything because, like I said, we live in a global village. The internet is at our fingertips. Information is readily accessible, so we can't pretend and not say anything. In the end, our conversation about this advisory shouldn't be about fear or shame. It should be about clarity. It should be about responsibility and respect for truth. Let's talk about crimes because it matters, but let's do it accurately, fairly, and with context. And let's talk about the advisory because it affects us all, from families to business owners to students to visitors. And it deserves nuanced conversation, not silence. Yeah? Mr. Ray. Good morning, Mother Charlotte. We need one Charlotte Tilbury. He could spoon this morning. Come off my line. Goodbye. Guys, thank you for listening. Yeah? And I hope that for what it's worth, y'all will take it in the good faith that it's given in. And we should not be silenced out of fear or silence because of repercussions, but speak freely, speak fairly and truthfully. When you're informed, you make better decisions. If people are aware of what's happening, then they make better decisions. That's not going to deter people. Like we said, Jamaica has a way larger crime scale than we do, and people still flock there in droves. This is not a ban. It is an advisory, telling people to be more aware of their surroundings when they travel. And that should be the case for anybody, as far as I'm concerned. It should be level 2 for every country, unless there are, serious crimes that affects visitors, etc. Then you elevate it. But to me, you should start at number 2. You should be aware of your surroundings. You should be aware of where you're going and what's happening there. It's an advisory, not a ban. Yeah. So on that note, thank you so much, everybody, for checking in. And we shall reconvene tomorrow. Final one for the week. Lord God, please don't let nothing happen today. Let me get a little break. New Year start off kicking us, You ain't giving us a chance to decline nothing, It's like, listen, you ain't even get a chance to say no thanks. Not even a chance to say no thanks. 7 days in the year and already every single day something already. Let me see if we get a little reprieve today, a little break today. Too early in the year to be tired already. Jeremy Phillips says we have to look at why America is targeted. Why are we seeing it as a target though? Yeah, there's conspiracy theories and Jeremy says we have to look at why America is targeting Grenada at the moment. I'm not saying there is not crime going on in Grenada from time to time, but if you look at the context and the timing of what Trump is doing is strategic and also bullying in disguise to create the problem and act like they are saviors. Well, that's another conversation. I tend to look at it from the angle of what's happening in Venezuela, the unrest and stuff, and we're not sure what's going to happen. There are so far, according to the news, let me check, 80, I think they say 80 people. The death toll from the U.S. attacks on Venezuela has risen to 80, including civilians and members of the security forces, a senior Venezuelan official told the New York Times. On Monday, Rosa Elena Gonzalez, who died from injuries sustained in U.S. strike, was among the first to be buried on the outskirts of Caracas. So, yeah, I just think it has to do with that, because like I said, we live in close proximity to Venezuela. So there are so many angles you can look at it from. But at the time being, let's just do what we can, brighten our corner, fix up ourselves, and do what we have to do. Yeah? Have a great day, everybody.
Ladies Room comes to you compliments of Renwick and Thompson Limited, Beacon Insurance, and St. Augustine Medical Imaging.